Brand New Man, I think, and Next Broken Heart were our first two number ones. By the time that third single, Neon Moon, came out, if you're playing that stuff live, they were loving it. I'm like, okay, it's a freaking hit.
Yeah. Heartbreak tore through country music like a runaway train on the night of April 3rd, 2025. Brooks and Dunn, the duo who soundtracked road trips, heartbreaks, backyard barbecues, and neon-lit Saturday nights for nearly 40 years, faced a moment that neither their fans nor the country music world would soon forget. It wasn't about a chart-topping hit or a sold-out stadium this time. It was about something deeper, human limits, loyalty, and the kind of heartbreak you don't see coming until it's right in front of you. That night at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, you could feel it before the first note was even played. The air practically crackled with excitement. Thick, the kind of anticipation that only a Brooks and Dunn concert can deliver. Fans, young and old, packed every inch of the venue. The rafters trembled with energy as cowboy hats bobbed in the crowd and neon lights reflected off rows of cold beer. You could smell the leather of well-worn boots and catch the sparkle of belt buckles that had seen decades of two-stepping. It wasn't just any night. This was one of those concerts. Felt like a reunion, a gathering of thousands of people who'd spent years making memories to these songs. From first loves to heartbreak, road trips to backyard bonfires, everyone in that building had a story connected to a Brooks and Dunn track. The roar that erupted when the opening chords of Neon Moon rolled through the speakers felt like an earthquake, rattling through the floor and straight into people's bones. You could see the faces in the crowd, fans wiping away tears of nostalgia one moment and hollering with pure joy the next. Couples slow danced in the aisles, friends sang at the top of their lungs, raising drinks in toasts to good times gone by and memories still being made. For a band that spent more than 4 decades igniting hearts with honky-tonk anthems and neon-lit ballads, this was supposed to be another unforgettable stop on their legendary Reboot 2 tour. Backstage, the crew felt it too. The veteran roadie, the sound engineer, the bandmate, they knew when a night had that kind of magic. The set list was loaded with the hits fans demanded. My Maria, Red Dirt Road, Ain't Nothing 'Bout You, and of course, the iconic boot-scootin' boogie, saved for the encore. It was the kind of night built for stomped floorboards, calloused hands clapping in time, and voices raised in unison. But somewhere under all that electricity, a quiet tension hummed, invisible at first, a sense that something wasn't quite right, a chill in the air that no one could name yet. But as the evening rolled on, a strange, almost invisible tension started to float through the air, something only the most devoted fans picked up on at first. Ronnie Dunn, whose voice is one of the most powerful, unmistakable instruments in country music, wasn't quite himself. The man known for commanding the stage with ease, even into his 70s, seemed off, bone deep, tired. As the songs rolled out, keen eyes noticed him leaning against stage riser, sitting down during Rock My World, Little Country Girl, something he almost never did. During the encore, the crowd roared to life as the opening notes of Boot Scootin' Boogie filled the arena. This was supposed to be the high point, pure joy moment, the song that could light up any room. The fans were electric, singing, dancing, with phones in the air, capturing the energy they'd waited all night for. Ronnie stepped up to the mic, started the opening verse. Then, something shifted. His eyes, usually sharp and alive on stage, looked glassy, distant. He raised the microphone to his lips, his hand trembling just slightly, and with a soft, raspy edge in his voice, Ronnie Dunn spoke to the crowd. Sing it, if you know it. For a split second, it felt like one of those classic concert moments, the kind where an artist hands the reins over to the fan, letting them belt out the chorus to a beloved anthem. The crowd erupted in cheers, fists pumping in the air, thousands of voices colliding into one. But something about the way Ronnie said it didn't feel right. It wasn't showmanship. It wasn't planned. There was a heaviness in his eyes, a glassy, far-off look like he was trying to stay tethered to the moment but losing his grip. The cheers didn't mask what those watching closely could see. His shoulders sagged, his breathing labored. Then, almost imperceptibly, he gave a small, weary hand motion toward Kix Brooks, a subtle gesture that spoke volumes to those who understood the bond between these two men. It was a signal they'd likely never rehearsed, yet one that needed no explanation after 4 decades of brotherhood on the road. Then came the gesture that broke hearts. Ronnie tapped his chest twice, a silent apology, a farewell without words. There were no fireworks, no crashing guitar solos to distract from the moment, no dramatic stage drop or sudden blast. He gave a soft, almost embarrassed wave, his expression etched with a mix of pain, humility, and heartbreak, and then turned away. Slowly, he walked off into the darkness beyond the spotlight, leaving behind the echo of 1,000 fans still singing, not yet realizing they were carrying the song without him. Bones came down, voices faltered. In those few seconds, it dawned on people what they were witnessing, a legend reaching his limit. The roar of the crowd softened into murmurs, a ripple of concern spreading like wildfire through the arena. And while the band kept playing, and Kix kept the show alive with the grit of a man shouldering heartbreak mid-song, everyone in that room knew they'd just seen something real, something raw, something they'd never forget. Clips of that instant exploded across TikTok and social media within minutes. Radio host Matt Malone captured the emotional moment on video, and before the sun came up, over 86,000 people had watched Ronnie's dignified, heartbreaking exit. Fans on Instagram transformed Brooks and Dunn's page into what looked more like a digital prayer circle than a music promo hub. Comment after comment poured in, sending love and healing thoughts your way. We're with you, Ronnie, and please get better soon. People weren't dropping emojis or casual likes. They were writing from the soul. But even before that moment, signs of trouble had surfaced earlier in the show. Ronnie's legendary voice cracked on high notes. His movements seemed labored. One fan posted, "You could tell something wasn't right. He looked winded, like it hurt to breathe." By the time the encore hit, those clues formed a clear, devastating picture. It wasn't just another bad night. Behind those bright stage lights, Ronnie Dunn had been battling a brutal storm for months. In early March 2025, fate hit him with a devastating double blow. A vicious case of COVID coupled with strep throat. It ripped through his lungs like wildfire, leaving him with severe respiratory issues that refused to go away. For 2 weeks, his voice, that voice, was silenced as doctors ordered complete rest. For a man whose life has been built on singing, that was pure torture. Even after the worst passed, he admitted to Country Music Weekly, "I'm still fighting some respiratory issues from COVID." You could hear the frustration, the grit behind those words. And it wasn't the first hit Ronnie took that year. Just a few months earlier, in December 2024, what was supposed to be a peaceful winter getaway in the snowy peaks of Colorado turned into a nightmare. Ronnie Dunn, ever the thrill seeker even in his 70s, had decided to hit the slopes near his vacation home, something he'd done countless times before. But fate had other plans. One wrong move, a hidden patch of ice, and suddenly the legendary frontman of Brooks and Dunn was tumbling down the mountain, his knee twisting at an unnatural angle. The result? A completely torn ACL, a brutal injury for anyone, let alone a man whose life revolved around standing under hot stage light, stomping his boots in time, and belting out powerhouse vocals for sold-out crowds. The doctors delivered the hard truth. He'd need major knee replacement surgery immediately, followed by an aggressive, grueling 8-week rehab if he ever wanted to walk comfortably again, much less perform on stage. Most artists, when faced with an injury like that, a torn ACL, major knee surgery, followed by weeks of grueling rehab, would have done the sensible thing. They'd cancel the rest of the tour, release a carefully worded statement about focusing on recovery, and disappear from the public eye until it was safe to return. No one would blame them. But Ronnie Dunn isn't most artists. He's cut from that stubborn, dust-covered, old-school country cloth, the kind of man who doesn't believe in walking away from a commitment, even when his body is begging him to. For Ronnie, the thought of canceling shows wasn't just a business decision. It was personal. It meant letting down the fans who've been with him since the neon-lit honky-tonk nights of the early 90s, when Boot Scootin' Boogie first packed dance floors and My Maria played on every country radio station in America. Those weren't just ticket holders to him. They were part of the journey, part of the family. And for Ronnie, walking away wasn't an option. So he did what cowboys do. He gritted his teeth, pulled on his boots, and limped back onto that stage, leaning on stage risers when he had to, catching his breath between songs, but never once letting the music stop. That kind of grit, that unwillingness to fold when life gets hard, is woven into the very fabric of country music. It's the reason fans feel so fiercely loyal to artists like him, because when Ronnie Dunn says he'll show up, you can bet your boots he'll be there, whether it's on one good leg or two. So, against medical advice and to the quiet concern of those closest to him, Ronnie Dunn limped his way back onto the stage for the Reboot 2 tour. While still in physical therapy, fans began noticing how he'd lean against stage risers during guitar solos, or subtly favor his right leg, doing whatever it took to get through the night without faltering. Beneath his jeans, strips of physiotape supported his injured knee, and a backstage team of physical therapists stood ready with ice packs and braces between sets. But the grit was undeniable. Every time Ronnie stepped onto that stage, he wasn't just performing. He was battling through fire, pain, and pride to give fans the music they love. And whether they knew the full story or not, every person in those arenas could feel it. That kind of dedication doesn't come around often, and when it does, it leaves a mark. That stubborn dedication inspired fans, but it also took a toll. His powerhouse voice, the bedrock of Brooks and Dunn's sound, started to show signs of strain. Vocal coaches and critics began to notice subtle changes. He could still hit those rich tones, but sustaining high, powerful notes required pure willpower. Backstage, sound techs adjusted live mixes. Set lists were tweaked, keys lower, choruses short. Ronnie worked harder than ever just to keep the show rolling. Fans noticed, they felt it. The incident in Indianapolis wasn't a fluke. It was the inevitable crack in the armor of a man carrying too much weight for too long. And when it happened, the country music world didn't respond with rumors or gossip. It responded with love. Instagram became a virtual prayer circle. TikTok became a makeshift support group. Hashtags like #Pray for Ronnie and #Brooks and Dunn forever filled comment section. Fans shared memories, photos, and well wishes. One fan wrote, "I grew up listening to Ronnie. His voice got me through my divorce. I'm praying for him tonight like he's family." Another posted, "You're the soundtrack to my life, Ronnie. Don't give up now." Even insiders revealed the depth of Ronnie's struggle. Pictures surfaced from that night, showing him gripping the microphone stand like a lifeline, sweat pouring down his face, his eyes blazing with determination. A sharp-eyed fan even spotted a portable oxygen bottle tucked into a road case, just in case he couldn't make it through the night. Hicks Brooks, Ronnie's partner in crime for 4 decades, never missed a beat. He quietly adjusted the set list on the fly, trimmed vocal-heavy songs, added guitar breaks, and held the crowd in the palm of his hand, while Ronnie regrouped backstage. That's what 40 years of friendship looks like under pressure. In the aftermath, USA Today tried to ease tensions with a carefully worded statement. Ronnie wasn't feeling well from being sick, but Saturday night's show went on as planned. Fans weren't buying. They knew what they saw. That kind of fatigue, that vulnerability, doesn't come from a passing cold. The questions flooded in. Is this the end? Will Brooks and Dunn cancel the rest of the tour? Is Ronnie okay? And then came the update we all desperately needed. Their publicist confirmed that Ronnie's health scare was serious, but not life-threatening. It was respiratory related, a complication from COVID and strep throat, not something terminal. After days of rest and treatment, Ronnie was feeling stronger. His doctors were optimistic, and most importantly, the tour would continue. Not a single date canceled. No dramatic farewell tour. No official retirement announcement. Instead, Brooks and Dunn did what they've always done. Showed up. They quietly reworked the set lists, trimmed a few songs to give Ronnie breathing room, added backup vocalists, adjusted staging to allow for more rest, and charged forward, not with denial, but with grace. That's the thing about legends. They don't go out with one final bang. They go out by showing up, song after song, night after night, until there's nothing left to give. And Ronnie Dunn isn't there yet. In fact, just days after that heart-wrenching night in Indianapolis, Ronnie took the stage in Peoria, Illinois, and absolutely dominated. Fans in the audience said he looked stronger, sounded better, and delivered the kind of show people have come to expect from country music's greatest duo. One TikTok comment summed it up perfectly. He's fine. Ronnie's back. And here's the wild part. While most artists at their age would be thinking about retirement ranches, quiet afternoons on the porch, and fishing trips, Brooks and Dunn just renewed their recording contract. That's right, they aren't slowing down. New music is coming. New memories are being made. And if anything, this entire ordeal proved one thing: country music still needs them. For the fans who grew up with My Maria, who fell in love to Neon Moon, who line danced to Boot Scootin' Boogie, and found comfort in Ronnie Dunn's voice through the hardest nights of their lives, this wasn't the end. It was a pause, a deep breath before the next verse. The bond between Brooks and Dunn isn't just professional. It's brotherhood forged in neon glow, endless highway miles, and the shared weight of 1,000 stages. These aren't just two men who happen to make music together. They've lived through each other's triumphs and tragedies, from smoky bar rooms in the early days to sold-out arenas decades later. Ronnie Dunn and Kix Brooks have weathered it all side by side. Their chemistry isn't rehearsed, it's earned, built on countless nights where one picked up the slack when the other was hurting, and moments when a knowing glance said more than words ever could. And the bond between them and their fans runs even deeper. It's a connection that can't be manufactured by record labels or PR campaigns. It's a relationship built on memory, on songs that played through first kisses and bitter breakups, through highway road trips under endless skies, and slow dances in small-town bars. Their music became the backdrop to people's lives, soundtracking everything from weddings to funeral, from backyard cookout to late-night heart-to-hearts. When Ronnie's voice cracked in Indianapolis, and he tapped his chest to quietly bow out, it wasn't just a performer leaving a stage. It was a friend stepping away from a family gathering because, for once, he needed to catch his breath. And the crowd, they didn't turn away or grow restless. They lifted him up. Thousands of voices rose in unison to carry the song, not as a performance, but as a promise. We've got you, Ronnie. That's the beautiful, gritty heart of country music. Legends aren't perfect. They bleed, they ache, they falter. And it's in those vulnerable, unscripted moments that their greatness shines the brightest. Because when they come back, country legends always do, it doesn't just feel like another show. It feels like coming home. And that's what Brooks and Dunn means to their fans. They aren't just entertainers, they're family. The kind of family you cry with, laugh with, and show up for when times get tough. And after this storm, when those stage lights blaze again, and Ronnie Dunn takes the mic once more, you can bet the music will hit even harder. Because now it carries a little more heart, a little more history, and a whole lot more love.